If you're running a coaching or a consulting offer and you haven't made at least $500,000, I'm literally going to need you to clear out the next 20 to 30 minutes of your time until you understand this one fundamental concept, okay? And once you understand it, it's going to change your entire perspective on your info business, okay? I have seen info businesses come and go, people with insane momentum, record months, but they just have no longevity, okay? And the reason being is because it doesn't matter how many pieces of content you post per day. It doesn't matter how many ads you're running. If you're pumping inputs into a broken system, you're never going to get the output you want. You're never going to get the results that you want, okay? And it's super crucial you understand this. And if we just look at the data right now, it's 2026, okay? The increase in the amount of coaches we've had relative to the previous years, okay, it's a lot, bro. It is like so much, it's ridiculous, okay? 2024, we had around 145K coaches. 2026 is around 200K. And if we just look at the valuation of the industry, it's a $16 billion industry right now. That's how much it's valued at, okay? So it's more than doubled since 2016. The rate at which the space is increasing and growing is ridiculous, okay? So it's become that much more important that you're able to position yourself uniquely in the market relative to your competitors and the other coaches and consultants, okay? And so that's why like the generic coaching and consulting funnel or model that people are pushing is just not going to work. Okay, things are changing. You need a proper system in place, a proper front end, proper back end system that's going to allow you to have leverage in the market, right? You need to package and position your offer uniquely, be able to market that properly. And so this just isn't going to work. Okay, this coaching funnel just doesn't work. So in this video, what I'm going to literally do is I'm going to give you the plug and play 30K a month system and funnel, which you can literally implement into your business today. But the content of this video is, before we actually go into that, I want to show you the most basic form of the funnel, and then I want to show you the map of consciousness. And then we're going to push and build those two and put them together. That's what's going to give us our 30K a month funnel, okay? So I want to go over the basic funnel first before we go into the 30K a month funnel, and I actually give you guys the source. So bear with me because it's all for good reason. Until you understand this, you're not going to know why I speak about certain things later on. So this is like the most basic model of the acquisition funnel and what it should look like. But to just explain the customer journey right now, it is basically funneling people all the way from the cold prospects. How can we take cold prospects all the way to warm prospects and take them to sale? How do we take them along the funnel down through certain systems to get them to buy, okay? So people start off as strangers. People start off as being completely unaware of the problem. They don't know anything, okay? The first point of entry into the funnel is going to be the top of the funnel, okay? And it's literally this point right here, this line at the top of the funnel. This is what we call a stimulus, okay? This is a change in the environment and it's the point of capture and interest. So the top of the funnel, what that stimulus is going to be is obviously your organic short form content. So your Instagram Reels, for example, and also your paid systems. So like your meta ads, okay? And then we go to the middle of the funnel. Middle of the funnel is the nurturing mechanisms, okay? So once people go from the top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, they need to be nurtured. And so how do we nurture these people? We use sales assets. So our long form YouTube, our freebies, you know, free courses, whatever, to nurture these people with value, to solve complex problems, shift beliefs, and all these things. You use Instagram stories to show social proof. You still do that in your sales assets. You could also use a VSL. A VSL is generally more so down the line, I'd say, like once you're at like the 20 to 30 to 40K a month boundary, you don't really need a VSL early on, to be honest. You can use it, depending on what you do, but like, you don't need it necessarily. And then as we funnel down even more, we go to the bottom of the funnel, which is our sales process. So this is how we can get these nurtured prospects all the way to a client who buys from you, okay? So this is going to be your appointment setting, your calendar, booking people in for a call, and then the actual sales call, and then they buy from you, okay? This is the most basic form of the funnel. Now, what I'm going to introduce you to is something that no one in the info space talks about alongside their funnel, but I think this is the most crucial piece of information that you need to understand to be able to have leverage in the market. How do you use leverage in your marketing? Okay, we're going to talk about the map of consciousness. The entire point of the funnel, or the entire point of your service delivery, the entire point of your funnel with your business getting people from a cold prospect all the way to a warm prospect and having them buy and getting them results is to take people down and increase their state of consciousness. Okay, now this diagram in particular, made by David R. Hawkins, shows the levels of consciousness people have along the energetic log scale. And the energetic log scale is basically the metric we use to value consciousness. Okay, at the top of the funnel, which is going to be where people are unaware completely of the problem, they're going to be at around stage 1 of the customer awareness stage. They're going to be feeling shame. They're going to be feeling guilt. They're going to be feeling apathy. They're going to be generally at the 20 to 75% range on the energetic log. And these are guys who are going to be making maybe like 5 to 12K per month. They have inconsistent sales, inconsistent leads. They don't have a back-end system. Their system is unpredictable. Some months they're doing really good, some months they're doing really bad. This is where they're going to be in the level of consciousness, okay? And your job is to, through your short form content, to take them from these low levels of energetic log to higher levels of energetic log. You want to take them from shame to, for example, regret and anxiety. The reason why you do this, for example, and the reason, like a way you can do this, for example, is in your short form content, you're showing your social proof. You're instilling some sort of regret in the prospects and the viewers. And the reason why you do this is kind of to instill FOMO a little bit. You give your clients, you give people FOMO by showing them people, there's this entire culture behind your program and these people are getting results. And so people want to be part of trends. People want to be a part of the bigger picture, right? If your program is genuinely getting people results and people see that, they're going to feel like they're missing out, okay? So there's this kind of regret and anxiety building up, right? You're increasing their consciousness. They're becoming more aware of things, right? And this is the point of the top of the funnel. You want to get people to become aware of the problem, right? And so this is like the point at which the transition is made to the middle of the funnel, right? Once that initial interest is built and they're problem aware, you take them from the 75 to 100 on the energetic log and you nurture them until you can take them to like the mid 200s. This is where you build trust through your sales assets. You've nurtured these people, you've built authority, you've made them solution aware. They're aware of your solution. They're aware that, it's your solution that's going to take them from A to B, okay? And then from the mid 200s, your goal from the middle of the funnel is to transition them to the mid 300s. This is the acceptance stage on the map of consciousness. They accept that it's your solution that they need to go from A to B, okay? And once this is done, the sale is then in progress and the sale is made, okay? Once they cross that boundary, that's when the sale happens. Now, it doesn't stop there. How, after they've bought from you, after they've become a client, can you still elevate their level of consciousness? You still need to take them along the energetic log scale, make them even more conscious by making them happy, by getting them good results, and you take them from the 350s-ish to the 500 to 600 boundary. And this is where they feel love. This is where they feel joy. They're in the highest level of consciousness they can be. This is where your client results shine. This is when people appreciate you more. This is when you get referrals, right? There's an entire conscious journey with consciousness people have from the top of the funnel all the way to the bottom of the funnel. Now, there's an entire reason that I explained this specifically. This is so important to understand. If you're able to understand at what point of the funnel, what level of energetic log people are at and what stage of consciousness people are at mentally, you're going to be able to speak to them on such a deep level of understanding and build so much trust that they're going to have no objections. Okay? You're speaking so directly to them. You're solving so many problems. They're going to trust you so much. Okay? Now, let's go into the main section of the video. I'm going to need you to completely dial in because there's going to be so much stuff that we go through in this section, but this is the 30K a month funnel. I'm going to explain each part of the funnel a lot more in depth so you understand it, but this is the funnel which you can implement, the system that you can implement, and it's going to make you a shit ton of money. And we're going to explain it relative to the map of consciousness. This is going to be super helpful, okay? The map of consciousness, if you understand it, it's going to become this medium, this catalyst for your marketing, right? You're going to be able to understand people at each stage of the funnel. It's going to make your funnel so much more clear, so much better, okay? Now, we obviously, similar to the initial model I showed you of the acquisition funnel, we still have the same 3 steps, the same 3 stages. So capture, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, nurture, and bottom of the funnel, okay? Now, we're business owners. We're smart, we're intelligent. We want to play things right, okay? We want to have a good system in place. Each part of the funnel for us has a funnel, okay? You want to have steps and things in place in the funnel to make everything better, right? And so in the top of the funnel, we have a top of the top of the funnel, we have a middle of the top of the funnel, we have a bottom of the top of the funnel. And you can literally see how I've categorized it. We're trying to go from 20 to 75 on the energetic log. So 20s to 75, where we're taking them to like the regret anxiety stage. We're trying to make them more conscious, okay? Now, also the point of the top of the funnel is to take people from stage 1 in the customer awareness journey, where they're going to be completely unaware, they're completely cold, to stage 2. We want to make them problem aware. This is how you build as much interest as possible, okay? You highlight a certain pain point, a certain emotion, a certain thing they're facing, you speak to them, and then you send them along down the funnel. So let's go into the actual funnel within the top of the funnel. That sounds so mind trippy, but trust me, it's going to be worth it once you understand it. So the top of the funnel is going to be the literal stimulus point. This is where the stimuli is, and you actually capture interest, okay? This is where we use broad range converting content. What this means is you can actually use broad form content, okay, and still speak to your ICP. I know a lot of people, a lot of coaches, and a lot of consultants tell you to speak extremely specifically to your niche. They tell you to narrow down your content, but you don't need to do that. You can still speak to a broad audience, ooh, my handwriting, whilst still converting people. And this is the point of the BRCC, okay? Okay, you can still have a broad hook and then funnel people down slowly through your messaging, through your wording, okay? This way, you're not only able to grow your Instagram, you're able to also convert people and nurture people simultaneously, okay? You don't just need to do one. You can have so many strategies in place, okay? Then, the middle of the top of the funnel, okay? We still want to nurture people, okay? Briefly in the top of the funnel. This is how you build the most interest. You want to take people from unaware to problem aware, okay? And by doing this, you need to talk about problems. You need to solve problems for people briefly. For your ICP, you need to have belief shifting content, right? You need to have social proof. Belief shifting content needs to take place in the top of the funnel as well. This is the entire point of taking people down in the energetic log, increasing the energetic log, increasing their consciousness, okay? That's the point of belief shifting content. If you're able to do this, this is going to build so much interest. As I told you before, in your short form content, you have social proof. In your IG stories, you have social proof. You're going to create FOMO. This creates interest. They're going to want to know more about you, more about your product. And that naturally transitions and funnels them down to the middle of the funnel, okay? So the bottom of the funnel, at the bottom of the top of the funnel, so mind trippy, I swear to God, saying shit like that, it doesn't make sense to me sometimes, but yeah, it is what it is. Let's go. It's basically the CTA, okay? That's the bottom of the top of the funnel. It's like the transition they make from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel, okay? So this is going to be through your IG bio, through your Instagram story. You just have like a YouTube link in your IG bio, and then people naturally go along, right? You like have a CTA. Here's all the information on info that I have, and then you just have the link in your bio, and that's it. So let's move into the middle of the funnel. Now, the purpose of the middle of the funnel is to take people from stage 3, solution aware, to stage 4, product aware, okay? The CTA in itself, the bottom of the top of the funnel, is what takes people from stage 2 to stage 3, okay? But the middle of the funnel, nurturing, is where we actually take people from solution aware to product aware. Okay, and obviously we do this, as we said earlier, through our sales assets, long form YouTube content, freebies, Instagram stories, where you're showing social proof, your VSL, which you don't need to worry about too much right now, if you're not at like the 20 to 30K month boundary already. But the middle of the funnel is where we go from the 100 on the energetic log to the 250 in consciousness. So we want to go from the fear, the desire, anger stage-ish, the anxiety, craving, disappointment, all the way to a stage where they've built trust, okay? Give me one second, let me close the door real quick. Let me close the door so we can lock it real quick. Okay. And the way you do this is obviously by having belief shifting content through your sales assets, solving problems. I'm going to talk about the top of the middle of the funnel. This is something you want to focus on down the line, okay? YouTube in itself is its own acquisition source. It's its own acquisition system. For example, you can still have top of the middle of the funnel to bring people in from YouTube. Like if I show you guys an example, we can go on Sue. Sue is a very big guy in the info space. You can see how he has a capture and interest, a top of the middle of the funnel. For example, the realistic day in the life of a 20-year-old millionaire in London, okay? And what this is gonna do is it's going to obviously cater to a broader audience, but as they go through the YouTube, they're going to be nurtured. They're going to see the more, in-depth, niche-focused videos where he's going to be solving problems, okay? And that brings us onto the middle of the funnel, okay? Solving complex problems. You want to be solving problems for free, providing lots of value in your YouTube, solving immediate fires people have in the company very early on, having belief shifting content. You need to make people believe, okay, in your solution. You need to make people shift beliefs, okay? If you're showing social proof, if you're showing client interviews, client journeys, right? And people will see themselves in the prior version of your client, right? The before in your client who's gotten to maybe 40K a month, okay? They're gonna see the before and after, they're gonna be able to relate to it, right? And this is gonna create a sort of shift in their consciousness, okay? They're going to build more trust with you. They can see that, your solution provides lots of results. This is the point of belief shifting content. You wanna always be shifting beliefs, both in the top of the funnel and the middle of the funnel. The middle of the funnel is where you're building the most amount of authority. It's when you're building trust. You're showing everything. You're going really in depth. But yeah. So, and then we go down to the bottom of the middle of the funnel. This is going to be where we have our pre-selling system, okay? You want to be handling objections before your sales calls, within your sales assets, okay? Before people actually get on the call and talk to you or talk to your closer, your sales team, you want to ensure that these guys have already gone through a pre-selling system. All of the objections have been handled. What this is going to do is it's going to drastically increase your closing rate. It's going to ensure that once people are on the call, they're very likely to convert and buy from you, okay? And so the way you do that is through your sales assets, okay? You can make lots of videos talking about certain objections, certain things that people have. You could do it like kind of in the background of the videos, like killing two birds with one stone. I don't know what word I'm thinking of, but you already know. Like in your sales assets, you can make certain YouTube videos talking about certain objections. You can do it in your VSL, your landing page. I know a lot of people have a pre-call page. Before they're about to book, there's like a series of videos that they need to watch, which actually handles the objection for them. You can do that, but you can also do it through your YouTube long form. It's gonna be very useful. It's extremely important, okay? And then this is where you're going to have your CTA and the transition, okay? The bottom of the middle of the funnel is where you make the transition from product aware to most aware, okay? So there's gonna be a CTA on your YouTube, which takes you to the VSL or the Calendly or to, your DMs on IG, okay? Your DMs on IG. The entire goal, okay, with your bottom of the funnel is after everyone has gone through the objection handling sales assets, after people have been nurtured, you've solved problems, you've built proof, you've built authority, we want to actually take people, this is like the last stretch in the funnel. We want to take people from 310 to 350 on the energetic log. We want to take people to a state of acceptance. This is where they accept that it's your solution that they need, as we said earlier. And the way you do this is through obviously your appointment setting flow. And this is like your entire qualifying process. This is where we get into the, are they qualified? Are they not qualified? So when people go into your appointment setting script or your appointment setting flow, whatever, you're going to be qualifying people. Now, if someone is qualified, we're going to take them down the funnel, down the bottom of the funnel. If people are not qualified, we want to push them back into the top of the middle of the funnel. Okay, you give them a tailored or a free sales asset or a free training or a course to actually nurture them back in. Do not ever push away a potential client. Okay, I know a lot of people who will see like a prospect and he won't be qualified, maybe he doesn't have enough money and he'll just push him away, whatever. You want to always be solving problems. The point of the entire funnel, the point of the map of consciousness is you want to make people as conscious as possible. You want to make people happy. You want to solve problems, okay? That unqualified prospect potentially in 2-3 months time could become qualified and may buy from you, right? It's all about how you play. You can increase your customer lifetime value, okay? By taking them back to the middle of the funnel, by having them nurture, okay? The effort and inputs you put in today and this month is going to lead to some results, and a lot of the results that you will get maybe in 1 to 3 months time, okay? Everything matters, okay? Just because he's not qualified doesn't mean that you should not fucking consider him anymore, okay? Or she, okay? You want to always have a solution in each stage of the funnel to either send people back to the middle of the funnel or make them progress if they are qualified, okay? So your middle of the bottom of the funnel is going to be your qualifying process. This is where you're going to be handling objections pre-call. If they obviously have certain objections, you just want to take people back into the middle of the funnel, as I told you before, if they're still not qualified, for example. If they still have some concerns and things, you send them a sales asset, client interview, something along that line. And that sales asset, will handle basically everything, okay? You want to leverage things like this, and this is going to make your sales process so much easier. So the bottom of the funnel is the actual sales call, okay? Close the deal. After that, boom, you got your client. And so this is basically the entire system. But now, obviously, after people are clients, you're going to need to have some good service delivery to push them down to the higher forms of consciousness. And this is the point at which you get social proof. You get people results. You make people happy. You get referrals and all those beautiful things. Now, what we want to do, obviously, is input back the data we got back into our marketing. All the data that we got from that one prospect who went all the way down, we can input back into the marketing, okay? And improve it even more. The more data you have on people, after they go through the system, the more optimally we're going to be able to elevate their sense of consciousness and their state of consciousness. We're going to be able to get a sale more easily. Okay, and the way we do this is through data, tracking KPIs and having KPIs in place. But we can leverage data and information from existing proof to engineer new stimuli, which sends people along the energetic log much more effectively, much more optimally. And you will realize this in your marketing, in your service delivery, okay, in your business overall, through the 80-20 principle. If we go into this, 20% of the work is going to lead to 80% of the result, okay? And 80% of the work is going to lead to 20% of the result, okay? This is the entire point of having this, okay? And we want to double down on the 20% that's getting us the most results, okay? And that's going to improve our business. It's going to improve the show up rate. This is going to improve service delivery. This is going to improve our marketing. Okay, you want to double down on these things, but you want to have data. It's super important that you're able to have this loop, this system which goes around, and this feedback loop, which is constantly feeding back in. And the reason why, if we go more in depth on data tracking and KPIs, okay, very briefly, is there's this thing called the acquisition plague. Okay, the acquisition plague is basically regarding the effectiveness of stimuli over time. Okay, so certain stimuli decrease in effectiveness over time. We obviously know this. If you listen to a piece of music for way too long, you're gonna get bored of it. If you eat the same meal every single day, you are going to fucking hate it. Okay, this is just how it is. Okay, we need to understand this in our marketing. It's the same thing with the social proof we have. It's the same thing with the top of the funnel content we have, the stimulus. We constantly need to reevaluate and shift things and improve things, okay, to be able to take people down along the energetic log, okay? So if we go into the cyclical acquisition play, okay, this is the point of entry. This is our top of the funnel, okay, our stimulus. This is our point of entry. This is our content, our short form content, okay? The stimulus is going to decrease ineffectiveness over time. We need to use data, okay, to ensure that we stay above the stimulation threshold, to ensure that, you know, we're constantly getting in interest, we're constantly building interest, we're constantly capturing people, okay? It's super important that we understand this, okay? And these are certain levers that we pull in the marketing by going through this entire process. We need data from every single segment, okay? Every single section of this funnel is going to give us data to be able to not go through this, okay? We don't want to go below stimulation threshold. We don't want to go into the area of boredom, okay? Once we go into this area, this basically means that the amount of inputs that we're going to have in the system will have either decreased, okay, or the quality will have worsened. So we're gonna have less qualified prospects, and then we go into a negative chain effect, okay? We always wanna stay above this point. This is why it's so important that we have back-end systems, okay? We have systems to be able to track things, okay? And then by having tracking, by having data, okay, you can have like an AI agent, which, you know, tracks everything for you. You put it into Looker Studio, you put it into your Excel sheets, you're able to look at the data, you're gonna be able to see what works. By looking at each part of the funnel, you're going to understand what point, you know, of consciousness people are going to be at, depending on the stimulation, depending on the stimulus used in top of the funnel. More data, you can double down on the things that work, and make even more sales. It just becomes this ripple effect of just goodness, okay? If you have any questions on this particular model, just let me know, okay? Send me a DM on IG if you need any help regarding this. I hope this video was helpful for you. But yeah, see you in the next video.